What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel in another video. Today I wanted to do an updated review on the Cooper STT Pros. I do have the 37, 13.5, 17s on my Jeep here. Did a review on these a while back, probably about a year and a half ago. Got about 10 to 15K miles on them now. Wanted to do an updated review on a bunch of things that I love and one thing that may bother some of you guys. So let's go ahead and get right into that, guys, and do a quick updated review on these tires. All right, guys, as you can see here, this is about 10 to 15,000 miles in, probably closer to 15. But as you can see, still plenty of tread left. I mean, plenty. They still hook up really well off-road. I imagine I'll probably get about 35 to 40K out of these tires. Again, you could probably get longer from these if you're on-road only, but being that I use this Jeep off-road, if I go past the 35 to 40K mark, you're probably going to take a little bit of compromise when it comes to off-road performance. So I want to make sure I keep the off-road performance at the highest it can get. So 35 to 40 is about what I'll get out of these, which is very reasonable for a mud tire. So that's going to be pro number one right here, is the tread life. Been absolutely phenomenal, both on-road and off-road. No uneven wear, no feathering, no nothing like that. And another thing you'll notice here, guys, no chunking, no torn up tread. I mean, these things still look extremely good after 10 to 15,000 miles, which I'll even go back to the back one here so you can see these as well. No feathering, no chunking. Tread still looks phenomenal, which can be a little bit rare anymore for a mud tire. I know a lot of the brands out there, you'll get about 1 to 2,000 miles in of off-road miles, and you'll start to see some chunking, not feathering, but some chunking and some torn up tread because it's gripping onto those rocks so hard. And these tires do phenomenal without chunking and without any of that torn up tread that you would see on some of the other brands. And another thing to mention too is that this Jeep is probably about 75% on-road, 25% off-road. I try to go off-road at least once a month, doing rock crawling, a little bit of mud, but mainly rock crawling. And these have held up extremely well. No tears, no nails in these tires, nothing. Been absolutely phenomenal. I air them down to about 7 to 10 PSI when I'm off-roading. They air down extremely well. They do wrap around the rock extremely well too, so the sidewalls are good, but not too rigid, which is a big thing. And the second thing that I really love about these tires is the on-road drivability. These drive phenomenally on-road. So sometimes when you're doing, mud tires and performance tires like these are, you're expecting a little bit of compromise between your on-road drivability and your off-road performance. With these, that is not the case. They ride extremely well on-road and perform exceptionally off-road as well. And another thing to keep in mind is I am running these ATX slab beadlocks on here, which phenomenal wheels, by the way, would definitely recommend these. But these tires are not balanced on these beadlocks, and they ride exceptionally well. So when I'm driving 85 down the highway, not one shimmy, not one shake, nothing. They ride phenomenal on-road, which was a big thing for me because I like to take my Jeep from the trail home. I don't like to trailer it. Part of the experience for me is being able to beat on this thing, but also drive it home. So a big thing for me is the drivability on-road as well. Even though off-road performance is kind of top of mind, these do well in both areas, and I would say even exceeded expectations in both areas. And I have full confidence in these tires to get me to the trail and back home, and that's a big thing. When you're taking your rig to the trail and back without trailering it, you want to have that confidence. With some other brands, they're not as reliable when it comes to, sidewall gashes and just how well they perform off-road along with the rigidity that you need on these mud tires. So it is just a huge thing for me to have that confidence to be able to drive it home, and I have zero doubts that if I go and beat on this thing and really put these tires to the test, they're still going to get me home. And there are a couple things performance-wise that I want to point out that have really made a big difference for me, or at least, in the feel of the steering wheel and how this thing performs off-road, things that I feel have made a big difference. First and foremost is going to be these lugs on the side here. I mean, these just grip extremely well, especially when you air them down. You get a nice bulge at the bottom, and it really helps for these sidewall lugs here to really grip onto the rocks, grip onto the mud, and have no issues when it comes to being off-road with these. So that's a big thing for me. Now another thing as well is how good the sidewalls look with these giant lugs. That is one thing for me when it comes to tires. You know, you're spending your hard-earned money on these tires. You want them to look good too. And I know looking good isn't really the main concept here, but it is something you consider. And these tires look extremely good with those huge lugs on the side. And I have no doubt that those lugs on the side of those tires have helped me get through some really sticky situations. Because I've ran other tires before that did not have those aggressive sidewalls, and they just do not grip the same way, obviously, that a mud tire like this does with those huge lugs. They just really help to get you through those sticky situations and help to really grip onto those rocks. And another thing as well, performance-wise, that I've noticed that I think has really made a huge difference for my confidence off-road as well as performance, and that's going to be the Armor Tech 3 sidewalls. So these things are very, very thick, and they perform very well off-road. So I will tell you right now, I have never once had an issue with gashing or holes in the sidewall or anything like that. And I've had these things folded up, I mean folded, and haven't had any issues when it comes to the sidewall on these tires. And that's a big, because when I'm at an off-road park, like let's say the Badlands, I see people gashing their tires all the time, you know, and most of the time it's not going to be a Cooper tire or even a Nitto tire. But when you go cheap or when you go bottom of the barrel, you're going to have some problems when it comes to the sidewalls, because you need a strong sidewall construction when it comes to off-roading, especially rock crawling, because these tires are going to be folded up when you add some torque and they're gripping onto those rocks. So the sidewall construction is a huge deal, and these tires have a fantastic sidewall construction. And again, these tires are a couple years old, so these were the Armor Tech 3 sidewalls. I believe they've changed the name of those to Stone Armor sidewalls or something like that. But same concept, you know, the really thick sidewalls are a big deal when it comes to a mud tire. And yeah, they are going to make the tire heavier, but would you rather have just a little bit heavier of a tire and get worse miles per gallon? Or would you rather have that confidence off-road, you know, of knowing that you're not going to tear these sidewalls up? Because for me, the miles per gallon are less important than the performance of these tires. And not everyone's going to think that way. You know, some people are going to want to have that on-road performance more than the off-road, and that's totally fine. These tires do great in both areas, but the off-road performance was the main reason that I got these tires, and let me tell you, they have done exceptionally well in both areas. But again, these tires aren't going to be for everyone, but for me, they fit the bill extremely well. And let me explain a few other things as well that have really stood out to me on these tires. And I'm going to point this out again here, you know, for my last review about 1.5 years ago, and that's going to be just the construction and how they've really done a great job of not siping these, but the mud, the areas for the mud to escape to where you still get traction. I don't know what that's called, so sorry, I don't know the technical term. But as you can see here, they have divots right here that really help to, you know, fling that mud out of the lugs and make sure you're still getting traction, as well as these little divots right here as well. So I think they've done a great job not only on the tread pattern, but also on making sure that the mud has somewhere to go to where you still get traction. And also, guys, I cannot say enough about the look of these tires. These are my favorite mud tires by a mile. I think they're the best looking on the market. But what's really nice about these tires too is they don't come in crazy priced like the Nittos do. So that's going to be a big thing you're going to have to consider. You know, when you're doing these mud tires, 37s get really expensive and 40s get really expensive. You want to make sure that what you're spending your money on not only performs well and drives well, but also looks good. I think the looks are also a major factor when it comes to buying a tire when you're spending that much money. And these look very aggressive and very cool, which to me is also a big deal when I'm running a tire like these and I'm spending the money like these. Now, when we're talking cons, there's not many. In fact, there's only one that I can think of, and it's not even really a con for me, but it's going to be a con for some people out there, so I have to bring it up, and that's going to be the road noise. And if you're buying a mud tire, I know that you're not really thinking about road noise that much, because if you're buying a mud tire, you're thinking more performance. But with these tires, they do have a little hum on the road. It's not nearly as bad as, say, a Nitto Mud Grappler or a tire that has really large voids, but there is a little bit of a hum, so it's something you're gonna have to consider when you're looking at tires, especially mud tires. You can find a mud tire that still is pretty quiet on road, and I would say these are pretty quiet on road for being a mud tire. And one thing I will say as well is, in the beginning, these really were not that loud. In fact, when I first got them on, I don't think I heard them at all. But once I hit about the 5K mark, 5K miles, that was about when I started to hear it. And now that I'm at like 10 to 15K, there is a wah, 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 but it's not loud enough to where you're having to crank your radio or anything like that. In fact, I kind of like the mud tire noise myself. So really, I'm the worst person to ask about mud tire noise or just tire noise in general. To me, it's not a big deal. When I'm looking at on-road and off-road performance, I don't even think about the noise, but it is something you're going to want to consider. And with these, you're going to have a little bit of road noise. It is a little bit of a compromise there. But again, it's not obnoxious like most of the other mud tires out there. All in all, guys, I am extremely happy with these tires, even 15,000 miles later. Like I said, they have performed exceptionally well on-road as well as off-road. I could not ask for more from a mud tire. And the main reason that I picked these to begin with was the price point. You know, they're about middle of the road when you're looking at the prices, maybe a little bit on the higher end. But if you compare these to, say, a Nitto, they perform, to me, exactly the same, if not better, as a Nitto, and they come in a lot cheaper when you're looking at a set of 5. So that's a big deal to me. You know, having the price point be where it's at and also get the exceptional on-road and off-road manners that this has is just unbeatable. And I am in no way bashing other tire brands. I think Nitto is a fantastic brand. I love their off-road community presence that they have. So it's not me bashing them at all. It's just me talking up these Coopers because I'm just so happy with them compared to the other, you know, brands that are on the market at the price point those brands come in. This is an unbeatable deal on these Coopers, whether you get the 37s, 35s, even 40s. I do not plan on switching brands. You know, I'm planning on going on 40s here pretty soon, and I'm going to go with these Cooper STT Pros, I guarantee you. So unless for some reason they discontinue them, and if Cooper, if you're listening, please do not discontinue these tires because they are by far my favorite, and I absolutely love running these. When I'm looking at 40s here soon, I'm definitely going with the Coopers. And guys, you know, when it comes to the mud tire market, it's pretty crowded, you know, and that's why I'm making this updated review, is because when I was looking for mud tires, I was constantly on YouTube looking at tire reviews, looking at what people were saying about these tires. And when you're looking at reviews, look at people that are actually going off-road and using these tires. You know? And if I could change one thing, it would mainly be with Cooper itself. And that's Cooper, you really need to have more of an off-road presence in this community, the Jeep community, the off-road community. I mean, look at Nitto. Nitto did the pit crew. They've done a bunch of other things as well to be present in the off-road community, and I think it has paid dividends for them. So Cooper, if you're looking to partner up to really expand your off-road presence and your Jeep presence, let me know. I'd be so in for that. And again, guys, I am in no way compensated or anything by Cooper to do this review. This is my personal opinion and the experience that I've had with these tires in both 35s and 37s. So I've had these tires for the past 5 years between my 35s I had and my 37s. And again, I still feel the same exact way. Love the Coopers, would not have any other tire on my Jeep. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. Wanted to do an updated review on these tires because it has been a while, and you really wanna hear about the reviews from tires throughout the life of the tires. So wanted to do an update review on these guys. That way you guys know how they're still riding on road as well as off road. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much for watching. The giveaway winner from last week, forgot to mention this, has not contacted me yet. So Brandon Dennison, if you see this, please contact me. I did leave a comment in one of my videos. Make sure to contact me if you can. If I do not hear from you by next Saturday, I'm going to choose a new winner because I want someone to get these prizes. So again, Brandon Dennison, if you see this, please contact me. I commented on one of your videos or one of your comments back in the past. So make sure to look at that. That way you can contact me to get your prizes. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more Jeep and off-road content coming your way next weekend as well. So again, guys, thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.